Today I'm sharing 20 things that most people forget to declutter. But don't worry, I am here to remind you. We're gonna go through these items. I'm gonna give you your checklist, and before you know it, you'll be living clutter-free. One huge area that people forget to declutter all the time, I see this in everyone's house I go to visit, it's the top of the refrigerator. It's up high, it's convenient because you think like, oh, I'll just stick this up here, nobody will see it. But you can see it. The moment you walk into the kitchen, the second you step a few feet away from the fridge, you have a clear line of sight. And sometimes we get clutter blind to things. You're just so used to looking at it that you don't even see that it's cluttered anymore. But it is cluttered. So go ahead and declutter the top of your fridge. I used to store things up there like food and cereal boxes. And the other thing about fridges is they are dust magnets because they're constantly sucking in air, so all the dust is going to the fridge. So anything you keep up there just gets really dusty. Now we're gonna go to the fridge and just open up the refrigerator and just take a look around. Do you see any condiment packets, things from restaurants and fast food? Declutter those items. At one point, I had so many ketchups from McDonald's. My kids love McDonald's and we had been going, and I finally just decided like, I'm never gonna use these, and I tossed them. So go ahead and toss those all. Another area that people forget are their coat pockets and their purses. I've shared this tip in a video before, but I actually declutter these things every single day. Every time I use them, I go through my coat pockets, empty everything out. I go through my purse, just get rid of anything that you're hanging on to. Receipts, wrappers, these kinds of things add up and they just get gross. So just do it every time you use the item, and don't forget. Another thing people often forget is expired medication. I'm the same. I was looking at my kids' medicine. I've got like those like liquid medicines that they used to take when they were really little. Some of them are from like 2019. The FDA says it's not super safe or effective to keep your medicine after it's expired, so go ahead and toss those. If you do have prescription medication, make sure you're tossing it in the right way. You can check the FDA's website and they've got information about drug take-back programs and things like that. You don't want to just like flush it and get it into the water or throw it into the garbage can. You want to dispose of it properly. And speaking of expired items, you also want to declutter your pantry. This is another place that I often forget. And our pantry is pretty big and deep, so often we will go grocery shopping, and I like to pull the old food forward and put the new food behind it. But sometimes we're in a hurry and we just stuff everything in the pantry, and then years later, I find something that's like 4 years old. Let me know if this happens to you, but I even have like canned goods that are really old and expired. So just go through your pantry. That's a place to declutter. And if you've got things that you're not gonna eat, go ahead and give them to a food pantry. Oh, and I also love those challenges where you don't go grocery shopping and your goal is to use up everything in your pantry. It's like a pantry food challenge or a pantry food cooking challenge. Check it out and try to do it. I think those are really cool and they help you to use up your things, and you also save some money. Another area is your nightstand. And I am not only talking about the top of the nightstand, although that is also a problem and a source of clutter. Also in your nightstand, I find that I just shove things in my nightstand. You can't even open up the drawer. So declutter that nightstand. That is an area you just can't really see it, so you don't think about it. Office supplies. We have pens, pencils, highlighters. Declutter those if you're not using them. You can donate them to schools. Okay, now I've got a couple of digital things. Digital photos. These are also very cluttered, and honestly, when I go through my phone, I will have like 4 photos of the same thing and the 4 photos look identical. Just declutter those photos. They do have apps that you can use that will identify those duplicate photos and delete them for you if you want to go so far as to do that. But if you can, declutter those photos, because digital clutter is also a problem. And speaking of digital clutter, text messages. I have my phone set so that every 30 days my text messages get deleted. If I didn't do that, I don't think I'd have any storage left on my phone, because everybody's texting me. Nobody calls me anymore. Everybody just texts me. Go through your phone, see if there's a setting where you can have it to be deleted after 30 days. All it will do is free up some space on your phone and free up some space in your mind. Socks. Declutter your socks. Those are one thing that get really worn and you don't seem to notice how worn they get. And a lot of times we buy like big packets of socks, and so we just have socks all over the house. Another item is paint. I probably have 20 paint cans in my basement. I have no idea. Sometimes I hang on to them for so long and I think I'm gonna use them. I don't use them. So just get rid of your paint. If the paint cans are empty, you can throw those away normally. If they have some paint left into them, look online for how to dispose them in your area. There is a specific way that you have to get rid of them. No, it's a safety hazard otherwise. Another item is pots and pans and kitchen bakeware. We're always decluttering our kitchen, and a lot of times people think in terms of like small appliances or duplicates of utensils, but don't forget those pots and pans, especially scratched ones. Go look at your pots and pans right now. If you have any nonstick ones and they have scratches on them, don't even donate them, throw them away. They're not safe to eat on. You don't want to keep them, just declutter those now. Same with bakeware. I've got a bundt pan that has some scratches on it. I need to get rid of it. It used to be my grandmother's and she gave it to me, but now it's scratched and it is a nonstick bake pan, so I need to stop using it. I actually may use it and turn it into something like a planter. You know, maybe I'll use it for something else, but definitely not for eating out of anymore. Winter items, hats and scarves and gloves and mittens. If you've got these, declutter them. You only need maybe one of each thing per person in your home. I also have lots of single gloves or single mittens. Just also declutter those. No need to hang on to them if you can't find the match. Declutter your old towels. I read somewhere that you should only be using your towels for like 10 years, kind of replace them every decade. I have towels that are old. I don't know why I'm hanging on to them. You can donate them. I'm gonna donate mine. You can give them away to animal shelters. They often will take like towels and sheets and things like that, so look into that. Shoes. So my advice here is declutter any shoes that you don't wear, that hurt your feet, or that are not the right size. Just get rid of them. And if you're hanging on to things like heels and things like that in anticipation of an event, maybe hang on to one pair, but don't hang on to lots of pairs, because how many events are we all going to, right? Old food storage containers, you know, like Tupperwares and things like that, especially if they're stained or scratched or just generally completely worn. I'm trying to slowly replace all of our plastic ones with the glass lock containers. I can link the ones that I love. They're a little bit pricey, so I haven't just kind of bitten the bullet and bought in a bunch of them. Plus, I don't want to waste the plastic containers that I have, so I'll keep using them. But when they get worn, I'm tossing them, especially too, like if you've got just like random lids hanging around, get rid of those lids. You're never gonna find the matches. I always hang on to them thinking like, well, maybe one day it'll show up. You know, it's like the socks in the dryer. They never show up. Just get rid of them. And just a tip, when you store your food storage containers in your cabinet, I like to store mine with the lids on. This keeps everything together. I can always find it, and when I need it, I can just grab it right out of the thing. It does take up a little bit more space in the cabinet, but it's so worth it to just have it all together and easy to grab. Okay, who does crafting? If you do, and my daughter does, so I know about this, we have so many craft supplies all over the house, whether it's like yarn or paint. My advice here is to declutter your crafting supplies, and you don't have to toss them. You can donate them. I do know that a lot of donation centers will take them, or give them to a school. You know, if you've got kids in school, or if you can find a school to give them to, or if you know a teacher, perfect use for them. They will love to have the supplies. Next is old tax returns. My husband likes to hang on to these forever. I hate it. If you've got tax returns that are more than 3 years old, actually, let me tell you the IRS guideline. Okay, after 3 years from filing or 2 years from the date that you paid, whichever is later, you can toss them. So go to irs.gov if you're worried, but figure out those dates and get rid of those documents. You do not need to save them anymore. And then my last one is old sponges and worn out cleaning tools. There comes a point where they just get really old and ratty, and same with the cleaning tools, especially if you have like microfiber mop heads. After many years, those will get worn out. And what happens is when you clean with these old tools and old items, you're not cleaning as effectively, you're not cleaning as well, maybe you're not even cleaning at all, depending on how bad the item is. I hope that this list helped you and gave you some inspiration for things. You can go around your house and look around and just get rid of those things. I know a lot of us are decluttering every day, and these are just things that we overlook or we forget about, or maybe we just don't even notice. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to keep the decluttering going, click here, and I will see you over at this next video. Bye-bye.